Welcome to It Starts With You, where we cut through the noise and get real about the behaviours that shape our lives, both personally and professionally. I'm Vic O'Farrell. Let's jump in because behaviours start with you. So, welcome to another episode of It Starts With You today. I have the wonderful Fee joining me, and I'm just so excited for this conversation ahead. I know you're going to educate and entertain all of us. But rather than me introduce yourself, Fee, introduce you, Fee, would you like to introduce yourself to the viewers and listeners?
Hi, I'm Fee Stevenson. I live in Telford and I'm an ambulant wheelchair user.
Thank you. So, you say that it's about not getting irate, but to educate. And I mean, obviously, if you're listening, you can't see Fiona. And if you're, in fact, if you're viewing, you would know there was no difference between myself and Fiona, well, other than she's blonde and I'm dark. But you
It's
are a woman.
grey.
Well, I like it looks blonde from here, Fee. Take the blonde. Um, but it is all about the behaviours of as human beings are our initial judgment when we see, and it's not, this isn't just about wheelchairs, but when we do see someone in a wheelchair, we've made an assumption about that person. And this is where I want you to help educate people who are listening. So, what do you need from this world other than a non-carpeted floor? Because I've seen you in your wheelchair trying to get across the piled carpet. It's not helpful, is it?
It's not helpful, but I do manage it. It certainly builds up my muscles.
Yeah.
I also need step-free access. I need the little lips that are at the doorways to be lowered because I can't get over something that small makes a huge difference to a wheelchair user, and that's when they have to turn around and say, "Excuse me, can you help me?"
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's not judging the chair, it's looking at the human that's actually in the, because we're human beings. And I think, and I've seen it, obviously having known you for several years now and been at different conferences together, is that people will just assume that, oh, it's all right, I'll just help. I'll just grab hold of her chair and push her in. And I learned a lot at the last conference from you. So help the listeners understand why just grabbing a wheelchair user's chair arms is not the thing to do.
Well, I've actually, the first time I had my chair, I didn't have my brakes on. I was in a cafe. I was lined up at my table, ready to eat my food, and a family came in and decided they wanted to get over the other side of the restaurant. Instead of asking me, they just grabbed hold of the wheelchair and pulled it and pushed me the other side of the restaurant and left me to find my own way back to the table while they went over to their friends.
Oh,
I then wheeled myself back to the table just as the waitress had got my food ready to take back to the kitchen. I went, "Excuse me, that's mine. I'm coming back for it." Well, they pushed me.
yeah,
It's a no-no. You do not do things like that.
no.
It is just bizarre. And I was in shock when it happened because it's the first time anything like that ever happened to me. And I happened to see organizer of another group in the building where I volunteered. And he went, "What's the matter with you?" And I explained, and he went, "You're joking me." I said, "No, I'm not." He went, "Would you like to speak about it to our group of young students so they learn how to behave with a wheelchair and what not to do?" And I went, "Of course I'll do that." And I did. And that then led me to do an awful lot of other stuff. But yeah, there's a lot you do not do to wheelchairs. If you were to see a stranger, you wouldn't lean on their shoulder. So do not do that to a wheelchair user. Some people in a wheelchair may be paralyzed. I'm not. I've got a spinal injury. And when you lean on my chair, it actually hurts my back. And if you have a conversation and you bang on the back of my chair like this, that really hurts. You
Mm,
may think you're just leaning on an inanimate object like a chair, but it's part of me.
yeah, and
Uh,
that was a
This,
big that was the big learn for me when You were educating. I mean, I wasn't leaning on your chair, but I could see when you'd got I could see it was like you could see physically jerked when someone was on your chair, but you weren't you've not been in a wheelchair all your life, have you? So you know life as an able-bodied person. So therefore, actually educating able-bodied people is it's not an easy thing for you to do, but because you've been an able-bodied person, you know the automations that people will make.
I know the assumptions people will make, and I also can look back and go, I made those same assumptions. And the thing is, until it happens to you, you do not know what somebody needs. And what I need as a wheelchair user is totally different to somebody who's got pathetic legs and uses a wheelchair, like Aaron Phipps. So I know there is a difference between what we both need. And this is the thing. I've also got friends who've got powered chairs, and their needs are different to mine too. So even though we're classed as wheelchair users, we've all individuals with individual needs. And this is what I want people to understand is treat us as individuals. Don't just look at the chair and go, I'll help. Because by pushing someone under a table, you might not have seen the table leg and you might be bashing their leg into the table leg when you're pushing the chair under the table for them. If they haven't asked you to help, don't. If they
Um,
turn around and say, excuse me, can you help me with this? Be grateful that they be honored that they have asked you for help because a lot of the time they will try and struggle themselves.
mm,
And it's nice when they do ask for help because then you know that you're trusted and they're saying, please, can you help me?
yeah. It's like you say, not everybody in a wheelchair has no feeling. He's is like you say, you have a spinal injury, which means your chair forms part of you. You still have your legs. It's not like you have no legs. It's like you say, we make the assumptions the behaviors are wheelchair user. That's it. We've kind of put you in a box, if you like, and then we'll treat you like everyone else. Even things we talked about before we came on this call, about evacuations in a building, and unfortunately you actually experienced that in Manchester. Do you want to tell the viewers how different users will get out of a building?
For me, with what happened in Manchester, that was a huge learning curve because I didn't know that I was meant to have a personal emergency evacuation plan, which anybody with any impairment, whether it be hearing impairment, visually impaired, blind, deaf, physically impaired, wheelchair user, every individual like that needs a personal emergency evacuation plan filled in by themselves or with help by somebody, and it's tailored to their personal needs. Now, with me, with my spinal injury, I've actually got an extra vertebra in my lower spine. If I was to be transferred into a evac chair, that bouncing down the steps could enable the extra vertebra to sever through my spinal cord, which is why I prefer to crawl down the stairs on my own rather than be put in a vac chair. But if I had the choice of being in a vac chair or death, I'm going to take the vac chair. But preference, if it's just a few steps, I will crawl down the steps rather than have to worry.
Mm,
Now, some other people can't do that, and there are other options. Some buildings have got an evacuation space with fire doors round them where the fire crew can safely evacuate them from. And with the fire doors being around, each fire door should hold for at least 30 to 45 minutes, which gives the fire brigade time to put the fire out. It's not the fire brigade's job to evacuate people either. It's the venue and the facilitators and the people booking the venue to get the people out. And
yeah.
that's again something I learned from what happened in Manchester. I was actually pushed past a corridor. My wheelchair was taking the paint off the skirting boards, it was that narrow. And then they passed me the kitchen with flames coming over my head because that's where the fire was. So I learned from that. I also learned that when the fire alarm sounds and people are in the lift, the lifts will go down to the basement because the power is cut to the lifts as soon as the fire alarm sounds. And those people in the lift have to find their own way out in the dark, which is what happened in the hotel in Manchester. I also heard outside the fire brigade say, everybody's been evacuated, the fire's out, you can all go back in. And I'm thinking, where's my friend with a power chair and where's their friend with crutches? They're not out here. So when I went back in the building to find them, I said, what happened to you? Oh, we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about it. And I went, please tell me. I want to know so I can help. We were on the first floor. We pulled the red emergency cord, but nobody came.
Mm.
The agency staff in the hotel had evacuated themselves, but not checked the hotel rooms. Now imagine that scenario going seriously. I mean, it was bad enough with what happened, but it could have been 10 times worse. And following that, that's how I've learnt what should have happened and how I should have been evacuated, which is why I'm hot on personal emergency evacuation plans, peeps. I'm hot on not only how do you get into a building, but how do you get out of a building safely.
Mm.
And it's all that, and it's getting people to understand the issues that anybody with any impairment has. It's not all about me, it's what causes the issues. Something this small causes a wheelchair user not to be able to get out on their own. They need help to get over that little lip.
Yeah.
And it's something that small things make a big difference.
Mm.
And it's crazy that we're still fighting over 400 years from when the wheelchair was first invented to get in buildings to be accessible.
Yeah. And I guess it's quite often things don't get changed until some disaster happens. I mean, I don't really want to talk about Grenfell, but let's look at that with cladding on buildings. And we're not talking about, disability and wheelchair users on there. But sometimes a disaster has to happen for people to actually change policy. And we don't want that to happen. It's like you say, it's just about educating people. I mean, I've seen you on the dance floor, for example. There's no stopping you, girl, when you get going. And you are a joy to be around because all you want to do is educate other people. It's when people have a closed mindset because all they've seen is the chair. Let's hit pause for a second so I can tell you how I work with leaders and teams to turn behaviour into results. If your team's stuck in the same old patterns, it's not just a skill gap, it's a behaviours gap. My multitude of workshops break those patterns and build stronger, more productive teams. It starts with you, and together we'll make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reason I'm the first one up on the dance floor is when people get inebriated, they can't say they didn't know a wheelchair was up on the dance floor. But
No,
when they
that's your excuse, B. You just want to be first on the dance floor.
But by doing that, it means that I know I'm safe because I've gone up first, and then people know there is a chair up there. But that is why I do it. A, I love being up on the dance floor first. B, I enjoy my dancing. But it also means that people haven't got an excuse if they come bumping into me to say they didn't know I was there.
Yeah, you did. I was here first. Yeah, but it's even the little things like you say, the pile on a carpet. I would never assume that somebody could wheel their chair over carpet, but you think of like a commercial carpet in an office or a hotel, they're not thick piles like you get at home, but yet they still are, especially when there's a slight incline. That's a huge amount, and we've talked about power chairs and the difference and why you don't want to have power chair, but that an incline with a carpet on it, people just don't, do they? When they're designing these spaces, they need to design them for everybody. What would you recommend on the floor?
My ideal for going down a ramp would be like a dance floor surface, like the laminate flooring, because I'm a speed freak. You know this. I love going down ramps, and Sam Warner has seen me and gone, oh my goodness me. No, I do frighten her when I go down ramps because is worried in case I hit a pothole in a car park, and she can see she risks assess, but so do I, and I can stop on a pin drop with my hands and my wheelchair gloves, and I've got thumbs, full thumbs on my wheelchair gloves because if I didn't, I would have blisters completely on my thumbs and I wouldn't be able to control the chair as much as I do. And I love being able to go out and have fun in my chair, and going down ramps is just part of my fun day out. But yeah, if it either that or lino, it's a little bit easier, but everybody's different. And I do understand the need for some carpet, but some hotels have got really deep pile carpet. That is a huge struggle to push on. It's like being on sand to push. And if you've ever tried to push a pram on sand, you will be able to emphasize and see that a wheelchair is the same. You cannot easily push a pram on sand. It's virtually impossible. It's the same with a wheelchair. And
Or
for a manual wheelchair who's self-propelling, it's nigh on impossible for them to get over piled carpet or sand.
if you're listening to this and you aren't disabled, then think about running across the pebbled stones on a beach. Having grown up in Brighton, I know that that's not a possibility. It's the same kind of thing. It's about, like you say, it's about making it accessible for all, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're all in this world, and we've
Um,
all got to get around, and it's not judging people.
yeah. And for hoteliers, the way to do it is get a drinks trolley. Try and get round the whole hotel without spilling a drop of whatever's in the drinks. And or bumping the laundry trolley around and seeing how easy is it to get over without actually bump, 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 bump. Because that will educate the staff to suddenly realize, well, what's it like for a wheelchair user?
Mm.
And this is the thing, it's getting people to understand the issues that people face. But I will ask for help. I do ask for help when I really need it. But on the whole, I try and manage on my own. I love to be independent and go to places, but I also like to be in the in amongst the delegates and enjoy myself. But sometimes I can't. And I mean, when we were at that hotel in Telford last year at the conference, it was so difficult with that lift next to the reception. Did you see it?
Mm. The
I
lift
went
connection.
forwards and I went to press the button, assuming the door would close behind me. It didn't. I couldn't go backwards because I'd have fallen out the lift. And somebody had to physically come running to close that door for me to go up. It was like, where's the design in this? And it
Mm.
was like, people was just staring initially and going, why is the lift not going up?
Mm.
Because I couldn't close that door.
Mm.
And I was trying to reach behind me to do it, but it just wasn't safe for me to do so. And it's these little design things that make a huge difference for people. It's like when you've got automatic doors at hotels. I have gone up a ramp. The doors have opened so slowly, I've rolled back down the ramp into the car park.
But you like ramps, you just said so.
Yeah, but going up is
I'm
different
joking.
compared to going down. But the other thing was at that hotel, the reception desk was up here. They couldn't see me. There was no cameras. They couldn't see me. All they could see were the doors opening and doors closing.
Mm.
So I then went around the other entrance where there was a ramp. I got up the ramp until I got to the top. The door at the top of the ramp came across the top, which blocked my entrance, and there were steps going down. I couldn't get round that because the doors opened outwards.
Yeah. Places aren't being designed, not designed with wheelchair users in mind, but there should be a wheelchair user on the design team.
This is
Right.
what I keep saying, but every time I offer my skills, people go, "We don't need you. We know what we're doing." And then when they get it wrong, how much more does it cost them retrospectively to not do this? But also, in this day and age, if hotels can't cater for grandparents with disability issues or mobility issues, what are they missing out on? They're missing out on the whole booking of a wedding, which could be minimum of 10K for the wedding, plus the accommodation, plus the food, plus extra meals, plus drinks
Is
for a
this your
whole
purple
weekend.
pound? The purple
Yeah,
pound?
yeah, 274 billion that they're missing out on a share
Mm.
of.
Yeah. That's when you say when you then suddenly put it into, oh, Here we go. Is a wheelchair user complaining that they can't use the space? No, 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 no. This person deserves to be here with everybody else. And like you say, now that venue isn't going to be booked for that event because we have a wheelchair user, and you are going to miss out on when you put a financial cost. People wake up a little bit, don't they?
That's what I'm trying to do, and that's
Yeah.
why this is why I've turned my anger into educate. Because when you're first in a wheelchair, you it takes a lot to adapt from being able-bodied to being put in a chair. When I was first given my chair, I went, don't want it, won't use it. Can't see the point of this. I'll just manage with my walking poles, which is what I did. And then I realised actually I was doing more harm than good. And what happened was I was on poolside teaching some children to swim at my local swim club where I was a volunteer swim teacher. They heard this crack and they thought it was a gunshot. Everybody in the pool stopped swimming. The crack was my back. A lifeguard whistled another one and got my wheelchair out of the accessible changing room because I'd hidden it from the kids. They didn't even know I'd got a wheelchair at this point. It came on poolside. I got helped into it. I started propelling myself up and down poolside. One child said to me, wow, miss, that wheelchair really is yours. What else can you do in it? And I said, well, I throw javelin, I throw clubs. What else? I don't know. I haven't tried yet. And because they accepted the chair, then I did. Because I was more worried how they would be with me being in a chair than I was about myself. But once they accepted it, I then accepted the chair. But initially, it was like, I'm embarrassed about having a chair, and I couldn't get to grips with it. And then once I realised actually I'd been selfish because when I was teaching backstroke, I couldn't get round the pool quick enough to protect the kids' heads. So I needed two poolside helpers to have floats either side of the pool to protect the children's heads for me. Once I was in my wheelchair, you know how I am now, Vicky. I didn't need the poolside helpers because I could whiz from one side of the pool to the other and protect the kids' heads. And besides that, when the kids needed someone to race against, they said, we haven't got anyone to race against, miss. I looked at them in my chair. I went, haven't you? And then I would have the stopwatch around my neck. They would go. I would go up the pool. If I needed to get them to feel more comfortable, like I'd slow down slightly. If I needed them to be faster, I'd go ahead of them. And by doing that, it encouraged them. And they loved it because they knew they got a teacher on their side who could understand. And also, when it came to birthdays, the poolside helpers and staff were often pushed in the pool. And I said to the children one night, because I got 3 different sessions, I said, you're going to push me in the pool and I'll show you how to swim without using your legs. They went, you can't do that, miss. I went, oh, yes, I can. And you will do it. And they did. I taught them how to use breaststroke arms only, no legs, and the power they got and the power I've got just from using my arms made a huge difference.
Mm. And well, it's a wonderful story actually, and you can see how much you glow when you tell these stories of education, and that is the whole joy of Fee, of actually getting people to get it. I just want you to get it. I don't want you to judge me. Don't put me in a corner. Don't put me in a box. I am Fee Stevenson. I'm still the same brain. I'm still the same mind. I'm still the same person. I'm still the same human. Just because I sit in a chair doesn't make me any less of a person than I was before a chair, because you had a very active life, didn't you? Well,
Yeah.
you still do, it to be fair. Still have a very active life, but before your chair, and even more so now, educating people.
Well, look at Stephen Hawking. He knew his body was giving up. So he said, don't give up on me. I've got a great brain. Just because my body's given up on me, don't ignore me.
Yeah, yeah. So what's your big thing that you would, if there was one thing that you could get facilitators, hotel managers, building owners to just change, the one thing, what would that be?
Access. Please look at the access in and out of your building. How safe and quickly can you get people over and out of a building? Because if you've got a little lip that high, you're going to need to get support to get people in wheelchairs over that lip or prams, whatever, you're going to need that support. If you can look at reducing access issues, please do. If
Mhm.
you can import or purchase more of vibrating pillows to help people with who are deaf so they know when the fire alarm's going off, please do. If you've got someone who's independent and blind, don't say to them, "Where's your carer?" Offer assistance. Please
Oh,
help them. And that is what I would say is empower your staff to be able to offer help if when needed. So when someone asks your staff for help, it's not, "Oh, can't your carer do that?"
no, because not everybody has a carer.
No.
You don't you don't need a carer. You are uh, you need help when you do need help and you ask for it. That's the other thing, isn't it? Like we I mean, we could talk for ages. But the one thing that I said at the very start of this, if I was going to come to you at the end and say, what is the one piece of advice that you would leave with people? And that would be,
Don't assume that someone needs help. Let them ask for it. Because if you're going to push them under a table, check for a chair table leg. Because if you're just going to get hold of the chair and push it under a table, you could be doing more harm than good. It's just working out. If somebody does ask you for help, be honored that they have because they're trusting you to help them.
yeah. If you saw an elderly person at the side of the road, you wouldn't just go up and hike under their arm and was you would ask them. You would offer, "Can I help?" And not everybody wants help. Don't be offended when they don't, but actually be delighted when they say, "Yes, please." Yeah. And if you see Fee Stevenson and she can't get to the bar, just don't leave her there. Take the bar to Fee.
That's what you did to me in October, and I'm so grateful you did that because I was beginning to feel I'm just going to sit here, enjoy my drink, and watch everybody enjoy themselves. But you made me feel so included, and by that we had the conversation of what I didn't like regarding my chair, what I do like, and this is what led to this because we had that moment to chat. And I am one of these will do anything to help anybody. And if I can, I will. I've got a passion to help other people. It's not all about me. This is education to improve accessibility for all.
Yeah. To make everyone feel included. We all have the right to be included. Um, oh, Fee, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to talk. And I know that obviously you've got where are you most hanging out on social media, would you say?
Facebook and LinkedIn is where I'm most.
Okay, so if people want to get hold of you, I'll make sure I get all of your details off you so that they can find it in the show notes. And if you're listening to this and thinking to yourself, yeah, I think we've got a few issues, get in contact with Fee. This woman is just one of life's givers.
And on YouTube, I've got demonstration of what's gone wrong, what's gone right, and educating people about the little lips at hotels so people can see something this small really does make a huge difference. And I've got numerous stories on YouTube, and all my videos are there from when I first ended up in the media regarding life insurance and the impact lack of life insurance at 22 had on me. At 38, I couldn't get a mortgage because I didn't have life insurance at 22. Who does? I wasn't expecting to get breast cancer at 22, and that's what happened. And because of that, I can't get a mortgage, so I'm stuck in social housing now for the rest of my life.
But you're still one of life's givers.
Yeah,
And yeah, I'll make sure listeners in the links below, in all the show notes, will be Fee's YouTube channel as well.
I've got
Fee,
two.
you got two. That's greedy, but we'll let you. Um, Fee, it has been a joy. Other than your bit that you said there, don't assume that people will want help. Is there one last thing that you would like to say to our viewers and listeners?
If you need my help, please get in touch. Quite happy to help in any way. It's not just getting in and inside buildings, it's getting outside buildings safely. I know from lived experience what I need, but what suits me might not suit everybody else. I've linked up with Darren Harris and Rose Hawthorne, and we've all put together a document to help some organisations understand that you can't please everybody all the time, but you can please some people some of the time, because what suits one person doesn't always suit everybody, but it's trying and it's understanding and being accepting of what will work and why things are in place for other people.
Thank you, Fee. And from irritate to educate. What a wonderful title. Thank you for joining us on It Starts With You.
Thanks, Vicky.
Well, that's today's dose of truth. Now go make it happen, because behaviour drives behaviour. And behaviour